the Mink, where we watch made-for-TV movies and miniseries so you don't have to. From Gia to Xenon, Hysteria to Sybil, welcome to Movies of the Mink.
What a film.
Yeah. Certainly an improvement.
Oh boy, what a movie. Yeah.
I think I'll describe what this film is.
Okay.
Even
Good
though
luck.
it was not my pick.
It was our pick.
It was all of our pick. This is, of course, Jumping Ship, the 2001 spectacular film that is the sequel to Horse Sense, where they decide to take a little trip to Australia, the land down under, and they just get into some trouble with some pirates. And as much as they're trying to find a way back to Paradise Island, they're also trying to find themselves along the way. I give it a 1 out of 10.
One?
What do you guys think?
It's at least a 4.
Okay.
4 out of 10. I think, in my opinion, I think this sequel was completely pointless and unneeded. Mainly because they decided to abandon most of the character development of the first movie, and
All of it.
I want to say all of it. Michael's, he's still. It's like they reset Michael, but he's a little bit nicer, kind of. I don't know. He's learned some things, kind of. Tommy's still a little jerk, and he still has dad issues.
Oh yeah,
But that's
those
like,
don't go away.
well, that was the one. That is true.
Fuck my life.
That was the only, like, that seemed believable. Like, I don't know when. I guess this takes place a year after Horse Sense or 2 years after Horse Sense. He's a little bit older,
Okay.
but like he'd still be
Yeah.
going through some stuff with that, and his mom's dating this guy. Like, whatever, that's fine. But there's no excuse for Michael. Like, he is he's the same character as he was at the beginning of Horse Sense.
Yeah.
That was weird. He felt a reverted character right from the start.
Well, it opens up with him like planting corn in his backyard in Beverly Hills, and I'm like, at no point in Horse Sense did he farm. Like they weren't growing crops on that ranch. It was a livestock ranch. Mm-hmm. You think he would have bought a horse? Like, you think the movie would have started with him riding a horse, not planting corn?
That's honestly, that would make way more sense.
It doesn't make any
thematically.
It doesn't make any sense. And then he's back where he was at the beginning of Horse Sense. He's lazy. He's not finding a job. His dad wants him to work for his law firm, but he thinks he's too entitled.
And so let's get to my main problem with this film right off of the bat. Okay.
Sure.
I don't know if this is something my eyes gravitate towards or what this is.
His body?
But ooh, that'll come later when we
Okay.
talk about the sick montage.
Getting ahead of myself.
Oh my gosh.
But people do such strange things with hands in this film. There's so much grasping with hands. There's so much of
Hand-holding.
Michael grabbing Tommy's arm, and then Tommy would then grasp his hand that's holding his arm, and they'd be like lifting it up and down very oddly. And this starts off at the scene where the dad is talking to Michael in the pool, and he's going, your trip's gonna cost $4,000 more than expected. And he's like, Dad, Roxanne's gonna come, and I'm trying to come, you know what I'm saying, buddy? And the entire time, if you look at the bottom of the frame, which I couldn't stop doing, the father is just grasping at the beer
Yes,
bottle.
he's fiddling
just
with that-
holding on
that
to the shaft of it
Pellegrino.
and just moving his hand around, and it is just so awkward and weird. And I just I thought to myself, I don't like this, and that feeling never left. There's all these weird side hugs, and it almost made me feel like this entire movie was an improvisation of what like Joey Lawrence thinks brothers should act like, because he doesn't do that in real
Oh,
life.
absolutely. I mean,
that's kinda
there's at least
sad.
like 5 to 10 minutes where he's pulling Tommy and by his hand. He's like they're holding hands and they're just going through the forest reacting to noises. It was really bizarre.
To terrifying emus.
Yes. Oh my!
Fucking emu.
I mean, there's some great
That's
physical
what I thought it
comedy
was, at least.
in this movie.
And they, of course, when they get to Australia, and then we end up meeting the third Lawrence brother, and the Lawrence brother isn't even the character he was in the last movie.
We don't know that. We don't. We really don't know that.
Could be.
It's
Could be
unlikely
Jake
he's the same
Hunter.
character. Everything makes sense in this movie.
I did love the limo driver saying good, or like he's like, okay, mate, when they took the picture, and it was like, oh, we're in Australia. Right.
Well, I just love like the whole transition from Michael explaining to his father or to Tommy how he used the internet to charter a private jet to Australia. Actually, can we talk about the like the logistics of that trip? So he's going to Australia. They're flying to Australia on a private jet. Then they're chartering a boat, what they think is a luxury yacht, to Hawaii to hang out with Roxanne.
She's going from Hawaii to Australia.
So she's meeting them there.
Yes.
But then where are they
She's
chartering the
meeting
boat
them
to?
at
To
Paradise
Paradise
Island.
Island? Okay, and that's just off the coast of Australia, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I was
Hell
really
yeah.
confused about like what was happening and where they're going. But
Yeah, that extra $4,000 that the trip costs is because Roxanne is going from Hawaii to Australia.
it really bugged me that they didn't give us at least one short scene of them in the private jet. I mean, they make a big point
the
about saying,
transition was fast.
well, yeah, he's like, I found a private jet on the internet, and then they are in Australia, and they're playing what I assume is native Australian music when they enter. And then immediately
the
they're
music
greeted with a
stepped it
good
up.
day, mate.
Yeah. Good eye, mate.
Good day, mate. I feel like this movie really paints Australians in a bad light. Because he's
They're all
immediately
criminals.
pickpocketed.
I mean, that's why you have Sabrina Down Under to throw off that balance.
Holy
Oh,
shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
That shows that they're good.
Some of them
Yeah.
are good. But yeah, so he gets pickpocketed immediately.
Yep.
Because he's a rich boy. We can get into like the pirates, I guess. I'm a little bit. I don't quite understand those pirates. Like I don't know. Are all pirates that like they seem a little high class for pirates?
Them having a yacht was confusing.
Well, so yeah, these are pirates who own a yacht.
They're
It's not-
old money pirates.
They're money pirates. So she pickpockets him, and I mean, it looked like he had a couple G's in that wallet. Like it was loaded, of course.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Michael, of course. And and then she takes the money back to her crew, and they're like, "Is this our next project, guys?" Okay, so they've been doing this for a while. They've been targeting rich Americans, pickpocketing them, and then holding them for ransom.
Holding them for ransom.
Right.
And they haven't been caught yet.
That didn't make
This hasn't
sense.
made world news.
Like they're in Sydney. Like they're not like in. You know what I mean?
Sydney.
Like this. It's very implausible. But it's fine. It's whatever. It is what it is.
It is what it
It
is.
is what it is. So I love the scene where they go on the wrong yacht, thinking that this was their luxury yacht, and they're eating the strawberries, and the captain's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Michael. Like this is my yacht." And it turns out it's the wrong yacht, of course. And then he finds the real yacht, which is the Tiffany. This is where Jake Hunter enters. And it turns out he scammed them into thinking that they were getting a luxury yacht, but instead they're getting this piece of shit fishing boat, which I thought was hilarious. And also, what he did there, that's a really fucked up thing to do to somebody. And he's kind of like the moral compass like through the rest of the movie, which makes no
Yeah.
fucking sense. Like a dude who's scamming people is giving them life lessons later in the movie.
And that's my question that I was having issue with, and I have it a little bit with Horse Sense, but even more with this movie, is who is the main character of this movie? Who is learning the lesson? What is this about?
Yeah, it's a.
Who? Because
Well-
it kind of feels like Tommy is the main
Well,
character.
no, it's all three of them. That's the problem. They spread
is like a
they
problem,
spread the
yeah.
love. I mean, Hollywood thinks of the Lawrence brothers as one person. You know, it's one being.
Right.
But it is super confusing, right? Like,
Yeah.
they don't. I guess they all learned something. Does Jake learn anything? I don't think he does. Except he just admits to himself that he hates fishing or whatever.
That was such a weird revelation. That was like the weirdest. I thought that was like not where it was leading. He was like, I hated that boat. And I was like, that. Whoa.
Yeah.
He's singing a new tune.
No, he admits that he hated that boat, also implying that he maybe hates this lifestyle. And then at the end of the movie, Michael just buys him the boat so he can do that for the rest of his life. Like,
Yeah.
Okay,
That
if
was
we're gonna
hilarious.
jump straight to that monstrous and
no, I mean, we
Jumping
don't
ship.
have to because I have a lot to say about that. But we can.
We'll get there.
We
If you want.
we're there now.
okay, all right,
We're there
let's just go
now.
into it. We're 12 minutes in. Let's get
What
into
it,
it.
what is the plan for that business? Because fun fact, it seems like really they just bought this boat for this guy that doesn't want this lifestyle anymore, and they're just leaving him there.
Yeah, it's
And
not
he's
like they're gonna
he's like,
stay.
we're going into business. So you're moving to Australia?
No.
I'm not moving to Australia.
Fuck no. These are awful people. These are awful thieves.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's fucked up, and he buys. Okay, let's just get into the ending because whatever. So, oh god, so they get back from. We're really skipping the entire movie. They get back.
Oh yeah,
We'll get there.
We'll
get to the movie.
We're gonna work backwards.
we'll work backwards.
Yeah, so they resolve the pirate situation, right? They steal their boat. They come back. Very quick scene with the police. So their parents are there. So Michael's dad and Tommy's mother are there somehow. Like I don't know how they were alerted that quickly, but they're there. And they're not even crying like upset, so happy. Like they're acting as if nothing has just happened. They have been stranded on an island for over a week with armed pirates chasing them.
Yeah.
And so whatever. They hug. And the police don't even question them. It is literally they hug and they go to dinner. They go eat dinner right after.
Yeah.
There are some things that happen after an event like this. Okay, you go to the police station. You get questioned.
They give you your ransom money. They shake your
You
hand.
get your ransom money immediately
that's
in
it.
cash.
Yeah.
So
Something.
the whole family goes to dinner, but Michael's like, actually, I gotta take care of something real quick. Of course, Michael takes him. Of course. He leaves. 20 minutes later, he meets him back at the restaurant. He, in 20 minutes, has negotiated a deal. So he gets the ransom money. He negotiates a deal because the country of Australia has already processed the forfeiture of that boat. He somehow makes a deal where he gets the ownership of the boat, and he has some extra ransom money left over, which he uses to produce merch for the new business.
Oh,
which
yeah.
which is called
I didn't
Tiffany.
even consider that.
Which is called Tiffany. He does this in 20 minutes. Which is called the Tiffany 2. After we have already established that that Jake does not want to do this anymore, and actually he wants to move on. He doesn't, this thing with his dad. It was great, but he wants to move on with his life. And what does Michael do? He fucking makes Tiffany 2. And like, this is what you're gonna do for the rest of your life, dude. You're gonna just remember your dad every fucking day, chartering rich assholes to Paradise Island.
Yeah, and we're gonna leave you too. Like,
And
good
we're gonna
luck.
leave you.
We're gonna reap
This is
the
our
benefits.
business, guys. Like, we just became friends, but I'm gonna go back to Beverly Hills and become a lawyer.
And that's the thing that disturbs me the most about it. He says they're partners. And he says, and I'll end up being able to pay you back, Dad, with this.
Yeah.
So he is just taking money from a business that he's forcing on someone.
Well, this is just exactly. I mean, this is passive income for him. I mean, he does not want to do the dirty work. He just wants to collect the check every month.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It would only make sense if they were actually brothers.
So my theory is that
Yes.
this was his way of getting back at Jake for scamming him at the beginning of the movie. Because like he's still holding that grudge, and he's probably just like, "Yo, fuck you, Jake. This is your prison now. I just built your prison, and I'm gonna get
You're
paid
trapped.
for it."
And that's why it makes no sense. it's just they wanted to have an arc for every fucking character, and so what ended up happening is that Jake ends up teaching Michael in that whole rant where he's talking about how Michael's a piece of trash that's never worked for anything. And Michael's like, yeah, you're right, I am a piece of trash. I'm a fucking garbage crap hole person. And Jake is just like, yeah, you know what, that boat's a piece of shit, but like me and my dad, I don't know why they talk like this, but you know, me and my dad, like we worked from the ground up and we built that boat out of what it was. And then Michael ends up taking that building from the ground up, and he's like, yeah, I'll do that at my dad's business.
Right.
And so that's how you have that arc and that, you know, that mirroring of dialogue and that kind of repetition. Like, lovely, great, good job. Tommy is a lost cause. All he cares about is his dad. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
He learns to love his new dad, Mark. He's very excited. And
Mark.
then Jake, they're just like, I guess we're gonna fucking just give you a boat.
I would have loved to see Michael be a part of that business a little more, because I think that plot could have still been resolved if he was, because he's building that business from the ground up. Like, it's obviously clear he doesn't want to be a lawyer, right? Except he has like a weird knack for lawyering.
He can just finagle.
Being on the phone?
Well, yeah, but no, he was able to remember that his essay that he wrote to save the ranch. You know what I mean? Like he can recall laws or whatever.
Land trust.
His land, the land trust. But it's clear, like in the beginning of this movie, he does not want to be a lawyer. Whatever. I don't know why I care. Whatever. It's like so fucking stupid.
They make you want to care.
I also, the way they left, and again, I know they're the villains of the movie, but the way they left those pirates on that island, like, they just fucking, the one lady like breaks her leg in the cave.
Yeah, they're all gonna die. They're all
the
dead.
other guys on an inflatable raft floating in the ocean.
Yeah. Epic send off.
I definitely thought that when the one guy's trying to climb out of the pit, that he was just gonna push him further in.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Because Michael does a dirty like that, and I knew.
Yeah, Michael's an asshole, and he doesn't learn a goddamn thing about anything.
He did have great scenes of spearing fish.
He also let them know about that water crocodile.
Oh my god!
Which, I thought that was a goof. That was goof territory, but apparently they are a real thing in Australia.
Yeah.
Saltwater crocodiles. I was like, what the fuck is going on right now?
It was action packed. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I mean,
Was it?
well,
Not in a fun way.
And all right, if we're gonna talk about people not learning anything from the last film, I don't think the writers did either.
it seemed like these were different writers who have never seen Horse Sense. That's kind of the vibe I was getting the entire time.
Okay, that makes
because
sense.
what themes were carried over? Like, nothing from Horse Sense carried over.
Oh yeah, nothing.
I mean, you think I was like, dude, like, when are they gonna ride a horse? Like, when is that gonna? Because that was such a big part of Horse Sense, right? But I guess there are no horses in Australia.
I mean, that's why when they look upon the water, they're like, "This reminds me of the farm."
Dude, that was fucking crazy.
That was ridiculous.
But my problem with the last movie is that they both have this timeline and they're just sitting around waiting. Michael's waiting for the summer to end. Tommy is waiting for the bank to seize his house. And then they end up picking for a sequel, another situation where they're stranded. And so they just sit around waiting.
Yeah.
How did they not get better at this?
I don't know. I don't even think they wrote that part of the movie. I think that movie was just improv. Like, that's all it was. Like, them running through the forest, all scared, of various noises, emus.
Just some fucking sick guitar solos.
Yeah, the music was actually, I don't think it fit at all tonally, but
the guitar was so funny. The guitar work in general really stuck out in those dramatic scenes.
Yeah.
When they would be underwater and it would be like a beautiful orchestral theme with just a guitar solo over top of it was so jarring.
Absolutely. But the music particular, I don't remember the music sticking out in the first one as much, but in this one it was like every dramatic scene, incredible guitar work,
That's a good
very
point.
distracting.
Yeah. It was very distracting.
Wailing.
But there were some good tracks. Like I said, the Australian tune was
Yeah, authentic Australian music.
that was pretty sweet.
Obviously, I don't know. this movie, man.
It kept feeling like it had momentum. Like I was like, okay, I'm like with you. And the plots would fall apart. The mini plots. And same thing with like mainly with Michael's character was just like he reverted back to this weird like horse sense early, like horse sense act 1 Michael.
Yeah, I think because they didn't know what to do with him. Like, how do you?
Sure.
Like for Tommy,
Where's
it
the
made,
growth?
Yeah, well, like Tommy, it made sense. Like he grew in the first movie, but he's still dealing with that stuff. But Michael, they wrapped his plot line up in a way where not only was he a good person now, but he was a genius. Like he was like he saved that ranch. Like that was incredible, and he could like whisper to horses. He had supernatural powers at the end of the horse sense. And in this movie, he's like, I mean, what do you do with that? Like, what do you do with a guy who can talk to animals and is a genius and is just a good person? You have to make him a terrible person again.
That's the only way to go is down.
This just kind of feels like almost like a reboot or something more than a sequel. Like they just like took these characters and they were like, all right, wouldn't it be fun if like instead of them being on the ranch, they were on a deserted island?
It did honestly give me the feeling that this movie was designed for me to have not seen the previous film.
Yeah, that too. And maybe that's why we're being so critical is because we just watched Horse Sense.
So we're big fans.
You got to think when this came out, this was almost 2 years after Horse Sense. People would have forgotten about Horse Sense.
that was a decade.
Especially children. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They just wanted those 3 rock hard bods on screen running around.
Yeah,
that's kind of like all they care about.
They told Tommy
I
to
would
hit the
say-
weights.
I'd say 1 3/4.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what I mean. But yeah.
You got options.
Yeah, you do.
Yikes! I didn't feel good saying it.
Well, this is for all age groups. There are teen girls who they're going after the full Disney demographic. So
Full spectrum.
Obviously, the dream sequence was the greatest part of the film.
Oh man, that woman's acting was rough.
yeah, I
Speaking like an android.
I was a little bit confused why Michael kept changing outfits throughout the entire movie. Like I understand that he had like 3 pieces of clothing, but he would alternate between wearing his shirt on his head as a fucking and then he would, you know what I mean? Like and then he had pants and shorts. He would constantly be switching it. Like they all looked way too clean and pretty for being stuck on an island for over a week.
What are you, Crocodile Dundee? Does Crocodile run jump at Rodeo Drive?
He played himself on that one.
What's his credit card limit? Unlimited.
Unlimited. So we can
Crikey.
ask him
Okay.
for unlimited money.
And so that's the impetus of this entire fucking thing is that they assume that Michael is a billionaire's child. And they look for him for 10 days.
Yeah.
Like
It's
they
a thorough
had his
search.
they had his credit card with unlimited credit.
Yeah.
They got a couple $1,000s in cash. His identity too, which is valuable. Like why would you want to like throw in kidnapping and all that? Like that just seems like insane to me. You have his credit card, like buy another yacht with that. He has unlimited credit.
Yeah.
He was trying to cancel it that day, so
Oh, maybe I missed that.
I'll give them some credit for that. You know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, he had his cell phone. They got rid of his cell phone pretty quickly. I was like, when is this gonna fall in the water? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that the tone of this movie, we obviously talk about how in general, like, Disney movies get very heavy-handed with these messages, and that tonally they can be pretty dark. But one of the things that I found impressive about this movie is, like, this movie was kind of edgy in its tone. Like, the fact that it had pirates that legitimately were, like, they had guns.
Yeah, I thought that's
they are straight robbing people, like, right off the bat. I was like, this movie, like, what is this movie?
They put a gun to Joey's head.
Yeah.
I thought for sure towards the end of the movie when the pirate's on the cliff, I thought he was going to actually shoot at Joey, and you were going to get that classic shot of, like, being underwater and the bullets flying by. But we just get mud squirting out of the gun comically.
Hilarious. Absolutely
I think he said, no. Like, worst pirates ever. Like, follow this fucking dude in a cave.
Classic comedy.
One of my other favorite things is when you're getting into the initiation of the pirate showdown, they're building this raft to leave the island. How did they sew all those shirts together? I don't quite know, but they found a way. And so they're on the raft, and then they see that the pirates are coming for them, and Tommy goes, "Can this thing go any faster?"
I love how they destroy that raft immediately.
That
They
was
just
very
destroy
comical.
it.
With a flare gun.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, tonally, it was all over the place, wasn't there? Was like certain scenes where it was super. There'd be a moment where Michael has to abandon Tommy, or Tommy has to abandon Michael, and it was like, it was pretty serious, and there was like a lot of stakes, right? I mean,
It was very angry.
But then
like, there was some angry stuff happening.
Yeah,
in
there
the
was some
movie.
very emotional. But then you have other scenes like right after Michael convinces the pirates that there's treasure, there's some doubloons in the cave, and he convinces them to let Tommy go. He's like, Tommy, run, and Tommy runs, and then fucking Jake, like, scares him and, like, starts laughing. I'm like, dude, like, this is like, why are you
Right.
This isn't like a time to be joking around. Like, someone's holding your friend, well, I guess they weren't friends at that point, but your client up at gunpoint. Let's take it a little more seriously.
Yeah.
Um
Tonally a mess.
Yes. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like you mentioned earlier, that whole stretch where they're it's just Tommy and Michael running around the island was pointless. It was obviously just filler. Like, they didn't even have lines. They were just holding hands and screaming at each other.
Yeah, and there's just montage after montage of people fishing. Which, cool, like, Joey Lawrence is ripped, and that is great to
that's why I
see.
did.
I'm not going to complain
Thumbs
that I got
up.
to see that. But this movie really is boring until 75 minutes into it.
Yeah. Act 2 is rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't get interesting until the pirates kind of show back up, for sure. I also love how those pirates are. This is going back to them being, like, very well off. They're, like, eating fucking lobster on the, like, they go back from lunch, and they're like, they go back after they kidnap Tommy. They go back to the yacht, and they're just eating like lobster and sushi while they, like, make Tommy clean the deck. Like, do they really need to be robbing these people?
Right. They seem like they'll be all right. And it's, in terms of them being pirates and having a yacht, it's like every time they rob anybody, wouldn't you be like, it's them with the huge yacht? Are they selling their yacht every time they rob? Their aesthetics were confusing.
Yeah, they're just alternative pirates, I guess. They're really
It's different in Australia than, like,
it's
say,
different.
Captain
Yeah, I think
Phillips.
a lot of people around the world have unfair stereotype of pirates. And this movie has something to say about that.
That's all right. That's all right.
I love the part where Michael this is kind of right after the part I just talked about. Michael is leading them into the cave, and Tommy and Jake are kind of deciding if they should just bail and go get help. And Jake's like, I have to, like, we have to go, Tommy. And Tommy's like, no, like, we can't leave Michael here. I'm not leaving Michael. And Jake's like, I promised him that I would save you. And I was like, again, this is going back to the dude who scams people for a living. He, like, this type of person wouldn't care about some promise to a dude he just met 8 days earlier.
Yeah.
It makes no sense at all. And that just really bugged me the entire movie. Like, he was always the one that was kind of like giving the little pep talks to Tommy and Michael about things. I was like, this guy's a fucking piece of shit. Like, and
fraud.
He was a cowboy 2 years ago. What does he know about any of this?
Yeah.
He's jumping professions.
Yes.
Motherfucker.
I don't know. There's a ton of other little funny things, but like the constant references to Pellegrino was funny the first time.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
You know, I really like the scene where Jake's sabotaging the yacht, or the inflatable, and that fucking song plays. That rock song
Yeah,
rock
dude.
song.
was fucking incredible.
Rockin' tune.
But yeah, I don't know. This is you know, like I said, this movie I don't think was worth an episode, but you know, here we are in the middle of it. And I'm realizing I don't have a lot of good things to say about this movie, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why don't we all try to say something nice about this movie? Does anyone have anything like positive to say about this movie? Like, honestly, you enjoyed.
Fuck.
It's good to see brothers working together.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yes, that's a positive.
And on a sliding scale of like who's good at acting is pretty funny.
Yes. But, you know, between the brothers, I thought the best actors in the movie were the Pirates.
Okay.
By a long shot.
I could see that.
I mean, they stuck to their
Tommy
guns.
was rough. Tommy was particularly rough in this one, I thought.
He didn't know. He seemed like he didn't know like what he was doing or what movie he was in.
Every line he was like mad somehow or like confused. His facial expressions never matched the emotion of the scene.
Yeah, kind of like Horse Sense.
Kind of like Horse Sense.
I love the whole arc of him like accepting his mom's boyfriend, and that so he gives him that gift in the beginning of the movie, which he clearly leaves on like the haystack.
Right.
And then his mom packs the picture in his luggage, and he doesn't realize he has it until it washes up on shore somehow. I don't know. It just
survived.
Just seemed completely insane that would happen. That his mom would pack a picture. He's going on a trip to Australia. He can open it when he gets home.
Yeah.
But Max, you said that she didn't know what it was, so she just packed it as a nice little treat. But whatever. But he ended up losing it at the end of the movie. They're like, I guess he could just make another one. Like they had to acknowledge it because it was such an important plot device.
You know, it's important for everyone to talk about dads.
It was the father figure Olympics, this movie.
Yeah.
They were trying. They were even like Michael and Jake Hunter were both. What was his name? Was that his name?
You got it.
That's
You
it.
nailed it.
They were trying. It feels weird to say. They were trying to like get Tommy on their side, like he was the linchpin like, of survival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting. In general, that dynamic. It was like everyone's just talking about their dads constantly.
Yeah.
Which I guess is like real life, you know?
I called at the beginning. I was like, Jake's dad definitely died. And that's going to come up very soon.
Oh, yeah.
And it does.
No.
He's like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
my dad's around. I was like, okay, like around what? Like as a ghost around the ship? Exactly. And then later on we hear, sometimes I hear his voice. And I love that too. I love that he sinks the ship. Like it doesn't even like there's no scene of him like, contemplating doing it. It's just like he just shows up laughing. He's like, "Yeah, I had to sink the ship, guys. Sorry." And then Michael's like, "Are you wearing my shirt, dude?"
Forget about
You tore the sleeves off. That's a $400 shirt. I guess it's worth $200 now.
yeah.
My whole life just
Crushed
sank to
it.
the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. That was strange. That felt very dramatic. And then he's defiant and he's like, "What was I supposed to do?" And it's like, anything else.
Yeah, go get
Sinking
help.
the whole
Abandon the
ship?
people you're supposed to help.
Yeah, sinking the whole ship feels very dramatic.
Yeah,
Jake.
but they had to do it. I mean, how else would they be stranded on that island?
How else would they reenact Castaway, which was a popular film just after this was released? Or just
Really?
before. Just before.
This came out before. Oh, wait, what came out before this or Castaway?
Castaway came out before this.
How
I
soon?
think a year.
So this movie was definitely inspired by Castaway.
It had to have been.
I wish they got a little more into that though. Like, have you trap them there for a year? What does that look like?
Holy shit. That probably would have been way better.
Like can't you imagine Michael like talking to like whatever, they like talking to a bunch of coconuts or something, like going crazy?
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
That would be fun.
Michael just starts, having sex with all the ostriches. or
Emus.
whatever
They're
the hell was
emus,
on
dude.
there. And emu.
Emus, dude.
Yeah, there's also they found like the cannibal cave. That doesn't really, it gets used to trap the pirates, but they really don't go into that. I'm like, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
What if there were cannibals
into
on the
that.
island? They had to fight the cannibals.
That would have been so much better. I feel like the movie kept like flirting with cooler plots.
Yeah, I feel like the three of us could like definitely write a better movie than this.
Yeah.
And that's the cannibal cave, like, they spring a trap on them and it has like skulls and stuff, which means that there really were cannibals.
Yeah,
there.
they were shrunken heads. Those were human shrunken heads.
And the movie's like, don't worry about it. It's just an hilarious thing that happens.
Yeah.
I know, and
Forget it.
And they bring it up when the pirates enter the cave because the lady pirate's like, this is serious. Like, I'm not going in here. There are bad spirits here. And then she breaks her femur and probably dies in that cave.
She was left for dead.
She was left for dead. All right, I pulled up some trivia and some goofs I can read off real quick since we've exhausted the plot of this movie.
I would love to hear that.
So the first one, this is the trivia. We'll start with trivia here. So Joey, Matthew, and Andrew are all brothers.
Hell yeah.
Did you know? I didn't think Matthew was.
No.
Yeah.
I could tell just from their lips.
And their brows, dude.
Dude, it's the brows.
It
It
is
is
the
the brows.
Yes. All right, what else? Matthew Lawrence had an uncredited, non-speaking cameo in Horse Sense. Shocking. This is very surface level. This film was shot on location in Australia. Because there were a few local surfers on the beach that they were filming at, the crew had to sweep away footprints to make it look like a deserted island. That's interesting.
They did very well.
Let's see. Matthew Lawrence swam and searched for lizards between takes. That's from the making of documentary. If you go on YouTube, he talks about that. He's very into lizards.
2 out of 3 people found that interesting.
Yeah. And then the last one's an emu, a native bird of Australia, appears in this movie as the second largest bird in the world, while the ostrich is the largest ever. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting. And the only goof, according to IMDb, says earlier in the film, Michael's afraid that he will lose signal on his cell. But later, when they are shipwrecked on the island, he says that his cell phone is a satellite phone and can pick up a signal anywhere. So,
Damn.
I didn't pick up on that. I don't. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all the trivia and goofs that we have for this one.
What a film.
It was a great it was a great ride, from Horse Sense to Jumping Ship.
Yeah.
Was this? I think this was the last time all three of them were in a movie together. I know the young one, Andrew, was in a couple movies by himself, but I don't think any of the other they didn't have like a three-way ever again. This is the last one.
Damn.
So, and for good reason, I think. They obviously don't have great chemistry, despite being brothers. Anything else, guys? Anything else you want to talk about regarding shipwreck or jumping ship?
Going over my notes. There was a part I was happy when they actually jumped off the ship. I was like,
Literally jumped
okay,
off.
they did it. They set it up and they did it.
And they said it once too. I think we had to jump. They said we had to jump ship,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which was I love when movies do that. When they reference the title,
Just feels good.
it does,
Yeah.
Reminds you you're watching a movie.
which is always what I want when I'm watching.
Yeah.
What?
And there was a single line that stuck out to me. There was a part where Michael called Jake Captain Kangaroo. And I guess the joke is that Jake is in Australia, but he is not Australian,
Yeah.
which made that joke extra confusing for me.
Yeah. I do.
As if at some point Jake had an Australian accent, maybe. Maybe they tried to do that. And it
Oh,
just
can
wasn't
you
working.
imagine if he had to do an Australian accent the entire time? Man.
Show me that test footage.
It just made me think that that's like a holdover line or something. I was like, that line makes no sense.
I mean, Matthew Lawrence was clearly too busy chasing lizards in between takes
He was distracted.
to go full method for this role. All right, so what are we doing next time?
Next week, we will be watching My Beautiful Laundrette, which is the breakout film for Daniel Day-Lewis and features the music of Hans Zimmer.
Holy shit.
It was originally made for the BBC 4, and then it actually ended up getting a whole bunch of screenings and film festivals, which led to a worldwide release for it.
Oh,
It's apparently a huge deal.
that sounds like a good movie.
Yeah.